kids are made to come do chores, but sometimes for Mama's sanity, if they've earned a movie, I'm gonna sneak out and do the animal chores while the baby's happy. So let's get out of here quick before the baby wakes up. So we did end up selling the Pekin ducklings to a friend of ours who wanted them. And I still have my mother-in-law's chicks in here, but the other ones are the boys. And honestly, the ducks were just so messy, it was really frustrating, and she wanted them, so she bought them off of us. Got my egg basket and a bucket of scraps, and it's actually kind of chilly. There's a breeze, and it's not that warm. I keep really wanting to plant out my squashes and cucumbers and watermelons, but I just keep looking at the weather forecast, and it's just still the overnights. It'll be really hot during the day, but overnight is still pretty cool. Like overnight, we have overnight lows of 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, which is about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. So just a little too cold still. We opened these rascals into another pasture and they have been loving it. So we've stopped feeding them hay because this one, so they still have access to the one where they were because that's where their water troughs are. But they're also in this one that has loads of grass for them. And I kind of slowly let them out just a few hours at a time for a couple days because I didn't want the ponies to founder by eating too much new grass. But they are loving it. The calves are filling out and their coats are looking nice. The ponies are looking awesome. And Marius hasn't made too many comments recently about the ponies still being here. They're actually my sisters, but she needed them out of where they were so they could do some work in their pen. And I've got lots of fences, and lots of grass that needs to be eaten. So we're happy to have the ponies here. I didn't tell Marius that the ponies were coming here. I went to go pick up the calves. We had a rack in the back of our truck, and I was just going to get the calves, and then I also brought home the ponies, which I knew all along, he just didn't know. And so I drive in, and he looks in the back of the truck, put down the egg basket and go feed the pigs. So he drives in, he looks at the back of the truck, and one of the ponies nickers at him, and he's like, what's that? And I'm like, just temporary. And he's like, ah! But I'm pretty sure my brother-in-law was feeling like, Tag, you're it, they're your ponies now. But they will go back to my sister's house because she does enjoy working with them. So I decided that I'm going to, it's windy and you're probably not going to be able to hear me very well. I am going to cardboard the rows in between the beds in the garden for weed suppression. I mean, of course I just had the boys burn all the cardboard before it got really hot and we had a fire ban, but I've still got some. I think I'll text my sister-in-laws and be like, hey, you can come for dinner if you bring me your cardboard. But just trying to cut down the weeds as much as we can and trying to be lazy about it. Put cardboard down, put landscape cloth down. Yes, it's upfront work and some upfront money, but in the long run, it'll pay off. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite cat. Reason being, she stays in the barnyard. She doesn't come anywhere near the house. The kids call her Snow White. She's friendly. She lets the kids pick her up, but she stays away from the house. She came with the place, and she's got a house inside the chicken coop right by the feed storage. And I mean, it's an excellent place to have cats. There's a cat door. And it's an excellent place for a cat to live because it kills the mice. I think this cat's very old. We have another one that's really old too, so it'll be sad when they pass away, but I love this cat because she comes nowhere near my house. We've got 2 chicken coops. This is one of them. There's water storage in here so we can pump water into here, and then it makes it easier to fill up waterers. We've got this waterer right now. I like these ones for a couple of reasons. One, it's easy for the kids to fill up because there's no like opening and closing it. And 2, it doesn't get brittle and break when it's really cold. So doesn't look like there's many eggs. I collected a pile this morning already. Oh, there's one in there. See any more eggs? No. But I brought these brewery spent grains, and we have these just cut in half, kind of like troughs. This is hard to do one-handed. Chickens love these, and it's pretty much free feed. Just gotta pick it up. And they adore it. It's all fermented and terrific. I just came to check in the greenhouse to see if anything needed water. We've got all sorts of starts hardening off in here. Tomatoes are planted in, and marigolds for pest control. But we tried, well, my sister tried a bunch of different watermelons and cantaloupe varieties that are supposed to be good for cold, wet, like short seasons. So there's one that's called like a December melon or something. Maybe this is it. Like there's some that are supposed to literally, you can keep them in your root cellar for a couple months. So I'm really excited and to see if they do anything. I've got some that I bought too. I don't know what that is. And then over here, these center cut. I don't know what that is. Little gem red curry. But there's here is, so there's somewhere in here, they're called sweet meat squash, and I'm excited to see what they do. They're supposed to be good for our climate too. I don't know. I'm just so excited to see what comes of all this. This is my first year. A lot of this is my sister's flowers that are hardening off in here, and she likes a little bit of basil. But I'm just excited to see what this year's garden does. This is the first year that I'm putting in a real big effort on a big garden. So I hope that it does decent. My Icelandic poppies are blooming, and they're so beautiful, guys. I just love how delicate they are. And also they just grow on their own. Like they just did this on their own. And that's the most amazing part. There's so many more to come up. And there's some orange ones over there. Chat with me while I wash dishes. So, I always start with bottles because I want them to be washed in the cleanest, hottest, and best water. Some people put them in the dishwasher. I don't know. I like to hand wash them. But what I wanted to chat about was some things that I do every day that, one, keep this ship rolling, and two, keep me from my ship sinking. So right now we're in like I used to call it survival mode, but then a friend of mine told me, didn't mean to do that her mom calls it autopilot mode. And I like that better. Autopilot mode is like now when we have a newborn. When we're just getting what needs to get done. And I made myself a deal at the beginning of the year when everyone was making New Year's resolutions. I was like, no, Kate. You're going to get everything you need to get done, that you feel you need to get done by March. And then you're having a baby. And then you're not committing to anything except the garden. We've got some meat animals going. Those aren't too big of a deal. Those sort of things are fairly autopilot for us because we've been doing them for enough years. But things like the garden take a lot more effort, a lot more daily work, and I'm just not really so familiar with doing them. I'm not a very experienced gardener. So one of the things that I do every day is that I get meat out to thaw. If I have thawed meat, I can throw down a last minute dinner really easily. If I don't have any thawed meat, I am scrambling for dinner. So if I've got meat thawed in the fridge, then I'm halfway there in my mind. That to me is a big mental hurdle, having meat thawed for dinner. Having a meal plan. If I don't have a meal plan, and if I don't have any meat thawed, I'll go to the freezer and pull out something that thaws really quickly, like salmon or farmer's sausage or bacon or something I can throw in the Instant Pot or grab out of freezer mail, something like that. And then, since I am running behind and grabbing something else that I want to thaw quick, go ahead and grab something out for tomorrow, right now. Why don't you just get ahead? Or grab out a couple days worth. If you got the fridge space, I put them usually like in a loaf pan or on a pie plate or something in the fridge, and then you're balling. You're ahead. Something I do for sanity is every morning, the first thing I do when I wake up is I make a cup of tea. I make a cup of tea, and when that cup of tea is ready to drink, I sit down and I drink that cup of tea, and I do not make a to-do list. I do not get going on anything except for making the baby a bottle. I don't make breakfast. I don't nothing until that cup of tea is done. Now, while that cup of tea is making, I might be doing something like throwing something together for breakfast or making a bottle or etc. But once that tea is ready, I sit down and I drink that. Why? Because I'm worth it. I am worthy. I am worth it. I have the 15 minutes in my day to sit down and drink that cup of tea while it's still hot. Also, I usually reuse bags, but this one had granola bars with peanut butter in them. I have a sister-in-law with a peanut allergy, so I don't keep any bag that had anything to do with nuts in them, just in case I reuse a bag with something that she's gonna eat, because I feed her often. So actually that bag is gonna go. So I drink my cup of tea, and then I make a to-do list. I make a to-do list every day. And then quite often, halfway through the day, I look at my list and I prioritize. Hey Kate, what are you actually gonna get done here? Or like now, it's 4:30. I looked at my list, looked at the things I really need to get done, like make sure the coffee pot was set up, clean the kitchen, we're having leftovers for dinner, so that's easy. Make my husband's lunch, feed the animals, and I circled all those things. And anything that's circled, I need to make sure I get done. And, just little things like that really keep my day rolling. I make sure that I get outside. If I don't get outside and do something outside, I just feel in a funk. The other thing I'm really good at doing is getting so busy in my day that I don't eat 3 meals. And this mama needs to eat 3 meals. So that's another thing that I've been prioritizing lately, is making sure that I'm really truly eating enough food in a day. Because since I'm not pregnant, I'm not nursing, I don't have the insane hunger, and it's easy for me to go longer without eating, which isn't something I should do because I'm already skinny as it is, you see. I have a really fast metabolism, which I know everyone's all jealous of my skinny, fast metabolism, but it's not actually always your friend. So, okay. Baby's starting to fuss. I need to make her a bottle. Now, that to-do list. There are some things that I write on my to-do list every day. I write, make Marius's lunch, and set up the coffee pot every day. I write breakfast, lunch, dinner, and write them down on my to-do list every day. I write down feed the animals. I write down, I just write down all those sort of little things, like get dressed and make the bed. I just have a mental list of, like, when I first start writing my to-do list in the morning, there's just all these things that I automatically put on there because I forget, like, everything these days. Like, yeah, I just need to make sure I write down all these things so that they don't get forgotten. And one of the other things I always do, almost always do, try my very hardest to always do, is clean the kitchen before bed. Now, if that was the only time in a day that I cleaned the kitchen, I would probably have a really hard time cleaning the kitchen every day before bed. So what I do is after breakfast, I tidy up the kitchen. The boys, whoever's on unloading the dishwasher, has unloaded the dishwasher. I can load it up. I may not wash any dishes, but I'll at least load up the dishwasher. We run the dishwasher once a day at nighttime, is usually what it works out to be. If I'm doing a lot of cooking and baking, it'll run twice a day, or if we have a lot of people over. So I clean up after then, and then I usually, like this time of day, like around in the 4 to 5 o'clock range, we feed the animals for the evening feeding. I clean the kitchen before dinner time, so that after dinner, mostly what's there is just like whatever was used to cook dinner and whatever was used to eat dinner. So it makes cleaning up before bed so much easier. So I would almost say that it's more important to clean the kitchen before dinner than it is to clean it before bed. If I've cleaned the kitchen before dinner, there's very little to clean before bed. And that makes my life a lot easier. When I wake up in the morning and the counters are clear, so much easier. Like right now, I'm cleaning the kitchen and then I'm gonna make Marius's lunches. So I hadn't actually washed any dishes all day, and we had like lots of big pots and such that I hadn't washed before bed last night. But I'd kept the dishwasher running, so like while there was bulky things, but there wasn't really that many dishes. But this morning I prioritized, Rowan was happy, we got outside and we got the strawberries planted, and that was kind of like a couple-hour project, and that was something I really needed to get done today. And I knew I could fit in washing the dishes in between then, cleaning the kitchen. And then actually we got inside, she had been up for a bit, the kids watched her, played with her, while I dealt with some chicken chores that I needed to do. And then she was happy and she was sleeping in my lap, and I spent like 2 hours editing videos while the kids were playing and doing other things. So how today's work, I actually had a lot of dishes to wash before dinner, but I got them done before dinner because if I left them till after dinner, I wouldn't have done them. So at least they are done now. It's not yet, so we've got it to the point where it looks kind of somewhat like grains of rice. And now we're gonna add some maple syrup and salt.
What?
Can you get me the salt, Mac?
Mama, try it. You want this big bucket of salt?
No, Mac, just the little jar of salt.
Me want to taste some. Taste some.
You will taste it when it is done. Right now, Freya, that's just strawberries.
Can I
get me
some?
the milk? It doesn't.
I poured some into there. Is this video still going?
Let me make that be like this.
Do you want to get me a spatula, Mac? Do you want to get bowls and spoons, guys?
Let me make it.
Or mugs?
Mom, do you have ice cream?
A little bit, yeah.
And spoons.
They're all identical. I call this one.
You got this one.
Mom, you get the big black one. Ham, you get the blue one. I'm gonna try some.
Get your fingers out of there.
I wasn't gonna use my fingers.
It's
My
pink.
fingers are unclean. I was gonna take the tiniest little test taste.
Get out of there, please.
Not that spoon. More in mine. That one is blue.
Then can we just pick out all that?
No.
Why not?
Can you let me scoop out the rest, please?
I just want to try some.
You can try some in just a minute. Let me finish scooping it.
Okay, once you get this scoop, and I'm gonna get out the rest. I have a little spoon.
Big bean.
How come that one has less than all of them?
It's a different size.
We have our little paper chickens.
Do you have a spoon for Hamish? Oh, here, just a second. This one is mine.
I was Ham's.
No, Ham gets this one. Now that is delicious, like nice, thick, so good. Now my final sanity tip is this, guys. Get your kids doing chores, please. Get them doing like actual chores that help you out, not make work projects. Start training them. Train them to vacuum. Train them to put away laundry, unload the dishwasher, tidy up the mudroom, tidy up the living room. Like, we've put a lot of time and energy in the last year into training the boys to do those sort of chores, and it's really paying off, and it was all part of my big plan. I was pregnant and I was like, goodness, I'm gonna need help. I put in a lot of effort into it and it has paid off. So yes, it is harder at first. Yes, at first it is a lot easier to just do it yourself. But now, a year later, guys, it's really dang helpful. It's so great. I don't know what I'd do without those kids.